My 23F little brother, 13M, hasn't said a word since my dad, 45M, called him a mistake, plus other things, 2 days ago. My little brother is the smiliest boy ever. He's extremely cheeky and talks a lot. He also gets into a lot of trouble at school. Not too bad, it's usually just, your son keeps interrupting class, your son doesn't listen to instructions, your son is very loud on the bus, your son may be a bit distracting at times. Like I said, not too bad. My dad says otherwise. My dad and brother don't have the best relationship, in fact, they seem to argue every day. I think it's because my brother isn't the ideal son my dad wanted. Bro is an art kid, dad is a typical sports guy. I know it isn't right to take sides, but my dad is being a bit much with my brother. He's a good kid just with a lot of energy. He gets good grades too, so there isn't really much my dad can use against him. 2 days ago, my brother got into trouble at school again. Apparently he was talking while the teacher was talking, and when asked to leave the classroom he refused. I definitely think there is something else that isn't being revealed, because my brother doesn't do that. He'd crack a joke or two, but he wouldn't just swear at the teacher for no reason. My brother hates it when people swear? My dad didn't care if the situation seemed odd. Nope, not at all. He picked him up from school and just shouted at him. According to my mom, my dad called him a mistake, a headache and a sorry excuse for a son. He also made comments about whether he was straight and asked him why he looked like a girl. Then, to top it all off, he threw away my brother's favorite sketchbook. I went over immediately and tried to talk to him, but on the first day my dad refused to let me in. My brother left me on read when I texted him and didn't answer any of my calls. I went back again yesterday, and the whole time my brother stayed in his room and refused to talk to me. He didn't go to school or anything either, just stayed in his room all day. I tried talking to him earlier today again, but he just ignored me. I asked my parents why he isn't going to school. He wasn't suspended or anything, and my mom just shrugged and said that dad would deal with it. She also said that he wasn't talking to anyone, so I shouldn't worry too much. Now my mom's getting on my nerves too. This is literally my last resort. I desperately need advice on how I can get my brother to talk to me. I need him to see that I'm there for him and that I love him and that he isn't a mistake, but I just don't know how. Sounds like a very toxic living environment. Do you live on your own? Maybe you can let him stay at your place for a bit. I know this is a lot, but it is not healthy for him to stay at home. I answered this already, but yes, I do plan on asking him to stay with me for a while. I knew my parents were a bit tough with him, but I think they crossed the line. I'll try and convince him tonight if I manage to see him. Has anyone at all heard from your brother in the last 2 days? I mean, anyone start texting his friends, other relatives, people he trusts? If no one has spoken or had any contact with him in over 2 days besides your dad, there may be something going on that needs a higher authority, police not God, involved to make sure your brother is safe. I hope to God he is safe, and I just read this wrong or am overreacting. I really hope this gets better for yours and your brother's sake. I managed to contact one of his friends earlier, and apparently they couldn't get a hold of him either. I also asked my aunt and she couldn't get him to answer her phone calls as well. I'm planning on going back to him and checking on him tonight because I am extremely worried. I hope he's safe as well, and thank you for your concern/advice. Smile. It is not wrong to take sides. You should take sides. Your brother's side. He is a 13-year-old boy who's been fish slapped in the face by his own stupid asshole of a father. Tell your father he's a wanker and your brother that you love him exactly how he is and that you'll try everything to keep him safe and happy cause he's a great brother. The mum doesn't sound much better. Frown. It is absolutely right to take sides. Pick a side. His side. What did you text him? I'd probably try something like, hey, I love you. Dad's a dick. I'll always be here for you, whenever you need me. And then just leave him to open up in his own time. How easy is it for him to get to your place if he needs some space? Yeah, I've made it really clear to my parents about whose side I'm on. I texted my brother those exact words too. As for him coming over, it is completely possible. My friend, also roommate, is pretty well off and space isn't an issue. Plus it won't be super awkward considering my brother knows her pretty well. I plan on asking if he wants to stay with me for a bit. Hopefully I'm able to see him tonight. I'm M39, on the verge of kicking my daughter, F17, out. The title seems bad, but there are many reasons why. My daughter hasn't always been so rebellious. This started about 2 years ago. At first my wife and I thought it was just talking back to teachers at school and getting into arguments until June of last year, when my wife found bags of weed in her suitcase trying to find out the source of an awful smell. When we confronted her about it, she got angry. We went through her stuff and told us it wasn't for her. We had got rid of the weed and grounded her. Just as we thought her behavior was getting better, things got even more worse. She was now getting into fights, coming home at dawn, extreme partying, or sometimes not coming home for days, skipping school, ended up getting left back a year, drinking, etc. This put a huge strain between my wife and I and caused us to focus less on our other kids. A therapist suggested a traumatic event had happened to her and that we should try to talk more. We tried again, talking to her, asking her questions, asking if she was ever violated and trying to see what was wrong. We tried putting her in therapy but never wanted to show up, and we couldn't get anything out of her. At that point she seemed like a lost cause. Earlier this year, she had threw a vase at her younger brother, 13 / and one of the shards had cut his lip. This was the last straw for me and I was ready to cut ties. My wife had talked me out of it and we tried once more to talk some more, but it didn't work out. The final straw from me was when she stole $3,500 out of the safe. We even had the pin changed this year to prevent this from happening. After interrogating her for what felt like hours, she cracked and admitted it. Over the past few days my wife and I had been discussing how we're going to handle this and ultimately decided on kicking our daughter out the house as soon as she turns 18 in January. This decision is not easy and I'm still considering other routes we could take. I've tried speaking without showing visible anger, therapy, support, setting rules, talking one-on-one, and whatever I could think of always seemed to backfire. I don't know how to reach her. She is an absolute danger to our family and someone I no longer want to be associated with. I could regret this choice, or this could be easily one of the best decisions regarding safety. Our younger children are terrified of her and who knows what's next. On the other hand, she's my daughter, and I'm not supposed to give up on her. If I kick her out on her birthday, there is a huge chance she will never attend school, and if she does choose to turn her life around in the future, she won't even have a high school degree. I have absolutely no more methods to try, and I've been sick of this shit the longest time. Can't get any opinions from friends / family, so I took it to Reddit to help. Edit, I see a lot of comments suggesting more medical treatment. Although I'm all for it, I can't scrap up that money right now without insurance working properly. By the time I get everything sorted out, she'll be 18 and everything is up to her. She's definitely on way more drugs than just weed. You literally said she's a danger to others. Have you considered getting her some inpatient psych care while you still can as her legal guardian? Once she turns 18, your options will be limited. If you kick her out, you'll likely get a call that she's either been arrested or is dead, so unless you're prepared for those inevitabilities and the guilt that will likely accompany them, now is the time to act. It's not normal teen behavior to act this violent and out of control. She needs help. Get it for her now, or do nothing and regret it the rest of your life. The amount of money I spent on her regarding treatment is all the way through the roof, and she never wants to participate / show up. Sounds bad, but I'm hesitant on spending more money as nothing will come out of it. We've tried and tried to get her help, but it always fails. I will look into it and see if this sounds like a good investment. Thank you. One thing you can do, emo, is you may be able to force her hand to get therapy by giving her an ultimatum. You and your wife can sit her down and calmly tell her, you are turning 18. Your behavior is getting worse and unbearable. If you don't do therapy now or get the help we are offering you, then you will have to find somewhere else to live, since you will be a legal adult. This way, you don't just unceremoniously kick her out and she has accountability for what happens to her on whether she stays or goes. It might be the wake-up call she needs when she realizes she now does not have the fallback of her parents' money or house to support her lifestyle. So I, M23, was a lot like your daughter when I was her age. I started getting kicked out at about her age. I had set myself down a bad path that I didn't get out of till I was 21 and I barely survived it. Your best bet might be dropping her off at a rehab. By the time my parents were ready for that I had reached 18 and they couldn't do anything. I don't know if that would have actually helped, and there's a good chance it won't help your daughter. But you've got to try something. The streets are not a good place for a kid. Feel free to DM for a longer conversation. I can help you out with scholarships or other options for treatment depending on where you live. I can't comment on whether or not you should kick her out because I've never been in either one of your shoes, but I have been in the shoes of your younger kids. My older brother was a hellraiser his whole life and caused my parents endless worry and pain. In and out of school, in and out of jail, you name it. They were so preoccupied with him that they completely ignored the rest of us. And it impacted us tremendously. I'm in my 50s now, and that brother died many years ago due to his unhealthy life of self-seeking and excess. My other siblings and I have no relationship. We hate each other and we all have self-esteem issues. My living brother and my sister struggle with addiction. I've often wondered if my parents hadn't put all their energy into our bad brother if we'd have turned out different. Don't forget about your younger kids. This isn't their fault and they have no power. And they really need you. I, 18M, bought my girlfriend, 19F, of 2 years a Nintendo Switch for Christmas and I am having second thoughts as to whether or not this is an appropriate gift. For Christmas I got my girlfriend a Switch plus 2 games that she likes that were on sale because she's been talking about wanting a Switch. This was during Black Friday and I probably wouldn't have bought all of that for her if it wasn't on sale. She told me that she doesn't have that much money and because she has to pay for groceries and whatnot so she wouldn't have too much money to spend on gifts this year, which I didn't think of until after I got her the Switch. I immediately felt bad about this so I talked to my parents about it and they said she may feel a bit weird because she won't be getting me as much due to her financial situation. She may feel that she is obligated to buy something at the same price or that she didn't get me enough, but I don't think she'd be the person to feel that way. They told me I could offer to pay for her groceries instead and tell her that I was going to buy her a Switch, but I didn't want her to feel weird. I decided to return everything, but now I am having second thoughts. This was a few weeks ago and I still haven't returned them. I'd never expect something super expensive from her and I just bought the Switch for her because I thought she would like it. My question is, do you think I should return everything or still go through with the gift? Edit. After reading through all of your very helpful comments, I have decided that I am going to give her the gifts on Christmas, possibly with a letter that I'll have her open before explaining my thought process behind the gift. It has been a rough year for her and she has been very understanding with me, so I want to get her something that she wouldn't normally get herself and I know she'd enjoy. Happy holidays everyone. I think you should absolutely give her the gift, and whatever she does get you, just treat it like it means the world to you, or tell her that because you're aware of her situation you don't want her to get you something this year. Go through with it. You bought her a gift because you wanted it to bring her happiness. Sounds like this is a stressful time for her. Just tell her it's not about the money. You guys have been dating long enough, that should be okay.